and welcome to another episode of The Last Seven, a Newport-based podcast and not so philosophical wax regarding the last 7 days. This is episode 13, chaps.
Wow, so many.
Speaking of chaps, I'd like to welcome my co-participants for this week, Antonio Romola.
Hiya.
And Kenneth Trainer.
Hello.
Excellent. Number 13, guys. Unlucky for some.
Yeah, well,
Apparently.
it's been a lot of them, haven't they, now?
Yeah, got 13.
Is that
Yeah.
a lucky number? No? Is it just...
Sorry, mate.
Is 13 a lucky number at all, or are we just...
Are you serious?
Oh.
It's
Oh, cool. It's the worst, isn't it? Apart from 666, but yeah.
Oh,
It's about-
666 coming up a bit later, mate.
Oh, yeah, well, how old will we be by the time we get to 666? How many weeks is that?
Oh, right. You're on about the podcast?
Yeah, if we get to episode 666.
That would be amazing. Well, we've got to do it now. That'll be the last episode. We'll make that the appearance of the beast. And yeah, that'll be the last one. We'll just do a suicide pact or something.
No many to go.
Something equally as fun. No, that's a mere 653 to go.
It's quite fitting that we're on
Good
13,
man.
seeing as we're nearing Halloween as well. Well, kind of.
I went into Wilkinson's the other day and they had a table with a load of boxes and it was all like Halloween branded stuff, but there was nothing in it and it just said Halloween stock coming soon. So it's on its way, mate. They've got the stands, they've got the shelving and stuff. They just don't have any
October
product.
31st. You guys did the Tin Shed did the ritual last year.
Yeah.
That I was happy to be involved in. You got something planned for this year?
Yeah, this year we're planning on doing something about exorcism. Be a small cast anyway, only 4 actors.
Sweet.
We're not going to be in it this time because we don't want the faces to be recognisable to anyone.
You're famous now, since America, do you know what I mean?
People are like, oh, there's just those actors again, trying to be scary. So it won't work if it was us.
You ever played a priest, Tom?
I don't think I'd be very convincing of as a priest.
I don't know, mate. You
I
might suit
disagree.
I don't sound poetical when I speak. They always sound very...
It doesn't matter.
When priests
Nor-
have got
nor
really
do
good
a-
voices.
Yeah, nor do a lot of priests. The ones
You know,
that you...
I think you'd suit the dog collar, the black.
What are
You're
trying to say?
Italian.
Have
Any...
you
Yeah,
fantasised about me in college, have you?
I've just started now when I thought of that.
Not white colours either. Those spiky black
Just the
ones.
priest collar and then just pair of pants. White fronts. Just the collar and white fronts, nothing else.
That would be scary if you did that for Halloween. What have you come as? Honest priest. Just pants, dog collar, and I'm after children.
I'd be one of those priests that drinks alcohol and listens to like Jimi Hendrix and...
Yeah, most priests, I reckon. They do. They're able to sort of do their confessing properly. I mean, if they're a direct line to God, surely their prayers are way more important. And they just go, sorry about that, and God goes, no problem.
Are they allowed to drink? Anyway?
Yeah, yeah, Catholic
Oh, well,
priests are.
they drink red wine.
Yeah, communion wine, right?
Yeah, so there's nothing.
They have
in
a
that.
glass of red wine with their
Right.
meals probably,
And
but
there's-
they would never like go out to get pissed.
No.
I don't know, mate. The guy who I've met only a couple of vicars
Remember the
in my adult life. Unfortunately, has been at funerals, and both of them have come to the pub afterwards.
Remember the Bishop
Oh, yeah.
of Suffolk a couple of years ago?
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah, the Bishop of Suffolk.
Oh,
Southwark, sorry, yeah.
A party, yeah, like pissed, and then what was it in the paper? He was
Chucking
in the back
toys
of a
out of the
limo,
limo.
throwing toys out of the back of it. Yeah, just was driving around London.
What?
And then
Yeah.
accosted, and then on the pavement, sort of, just in the mire, and doing one of those multicoloured yawns that people often do when they've had too much to drink. And I think they were asking what he was doing, and he said,
I'm the Bishop of Suffolk.
I'm the Bishop of Suffolk.
Yeah.
I read in different tabloids that he said, I'm the fucking Bishop of Suffolk. But I'm not sure. Although, if you'd have been on the scene, you definitely would have reported that.
Going back to like rules for priests though, just briefly. There's not Hendrix would be fine, wouldn't it? There's no rules about what you can listen to.
I don't know, rock and roll, mate.
Of course not, but then it's about the lyrics, isn't it? And they like whether the lyrics are, sinful in any way. So if it's talk of women being naked, if it's talk of drinking, if it's talk about getting high, if there's talk of war, anything in there that is a sin or against the.
How was the service, lad? Oh, it was absolutely fine. I'm on about priest who could probably get married, so not a Catholic. Oh, it was fine. Yeah, it was great. Started off with some Clapton, not cocaine, was it, love? Yes, it was cocaine. It was about earthly pleasures, and then we went on for some Hendrix, and I connected it by saying only God would be able to stand up next to a mountain and chop it down with the edge of his hand.
Yeah.
So an important lesson learned there by the
And the
congregation.
purple haze is what you experience as you're descending to the heavens.
Descending to the heavens.
Yeah, you need to brush up before you play this priest.
Yeah,
mate.
definitely.
And whatever
definitely.
this film is that I'm constructed in my head.
It might be better. It might be better. Just like Rowan Atkinson's priest in 4 Weddings and a Funeral. You just bugger it up. Descending into the fiery pits of heaven.
I think there could be some pretty cool priests. I reckon some of them might be alright.
I think they're definitely alright.
I think some of them do listen to, Hendrix on the iPod and stuff like that.
They must do.
A lot of them are probably quite, laid back and quite free going and easy.
Yeah,
with
because of dwindling church numbers, I think that it's more common to get a priest who's a bit cool and a bit witty. Because now I think Church of England is pretty much just as laid back as if you consider yourself a bit spiritual, or if you just believe in God, nip across. It's just a lovely place to meet some friends, and on a Sunday we'll have a lovely chat about our Lord. I think it's fair. I like the Catholic idea of confession though. You can do what you like, but confess with it because the Lord is all forgiving.
Well, it's an easy way out, though, isn't it?
It's the easiest way out. It was how they perfected. Right, we're all priests and we can't have sex and we can't do loads of other fun stuff. Well, we could. As long as we said sorry afterwards.
I just can't believe that they preach that on your deathbed, even if you've lived a whole lifetime of sin, on your deathbed you're allowed to confess and ask for mercy, and you can go to heaven.
They
make people believe that even if let's say if it was true, they make people believe that just at the very end they can get into heaven regardless of what they've done all their lives.
It certainly does contradict all the work that they try to do to...
It contradicts the whole point of living your life.
Live good lives.
And conversely, if you have lived a good life but don't accept God into your life, even right at the end, then you're fucked. You could be the kindest, most altruistic person in the world, but if you don't accept Jesus into your heart, then you go into hell. Jim Jeffries made a good point about hell though, and said that God is the only one who's released a book. So the devil is, being the bigger man in this situation, is what he says, by not slagging him off. And if he takes all of the evil people and all of the nasty guys, and that's his bag, surely he wouldn't want to punish them. Surely they'd be his boys, and he'd be like, you're the worst people, let's raise an army and let's take over heaven. There would be no torture.
Maybe the devil just didn't get the rights to publish his book.
Oh, can you imagine God that just blocked the publishers as well, just got there first.
Got into their minds and made them say no.
It would be the ultimate super injunction.
So God must have created the devil. It doesn't mention that in the creation bit either. And hell doesn't appear until Jesus comes into the Bible. There is no mention of hell.
Well, he's not part of the creation myth because he's an angel originally, isn't he?
Oh no, that's right. Yeah, a fallen angel perhaps.
That's what he is. Yeah.
Right.
That's
okay.
the myth. He's cast out of heaven for questioning God, isn't he?
So the devil is reason. That's what it explains.
That's part of the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he questions.
I think that's Milton and stuff.
God, what's with all the AIDS babies? How dare you? I work in mysterious ways. I banish you. What? Can I have Thursday off? Oh, that is it. That is it.
I might have done more to piss him off. He might have smoked in his bedroom, and, just different things.
I've just created a theory in my head that Christians could use to say that they accept the idea of dinosaurs and evolution in a way. I just thought of a theory in my head that they could use. They could always say that dinosaurs came first, but Satan created those, and then God destroyed them and started again. Yeah, so that's why we find skeletons of dinosaurs. God, sorted it out and started again. No, we don't like volcanoes and don't like dinosaurs. I want, lovely green trees with giraffes and beautiful birds flying around in parrots.
So not really evolution, right?
no. Yeah, so they're not evolution, but the belief in, the belief in.
They can do it, right? As most do.
He did that, and then he just. I don't know.
Well, he left a couple of volcanoes
on his way out. Yeah.
He left Satan, who was like an apprentice in the heavens, and he just left him to get on with it. Going, I'm going to trust you with this.
Yeah,
I've done quite a lot of the universe. I'm going to trust you with this particular world and this particular heaven and the earth. And he got back and it was all full of massive lizards that were just killing each other. And he said, that's enough of that. What are all these big fiery lumps in the... Oh, they're volcanoes, aren't they wicked? Like, every now and again, go...
Like create horrible hairy men with spears and axes that mumble and talk weird. I'm going to create a human being that can actually talk.
Dinosaurs and humans didn't coexist, right?
Well, I thought that humans kind of came into existence on the cusp of dinosaurs becoming extinct.
Tone, you just said the dinosaurs were wiped out by an asteroid.
Huh?
You just said the
No, I
dinosaurs
know,
were
but
wiped
I
out by an
always thought
asteroid. The
that,
humans
that,
didn't.
that I thought there was like an early
mate.
stage of man
No.
living among.
We're talking like,
Like dinosaurs.
That's a film you saw on a
Oh,
Sunday
bollocks.
afternoon.
It was 10,000 million years BC, not actually based on real
10,000
men.
million?
Shit!
We're talking 65 million years ago, the extinction of the dinosaurs, I think. And humans as we are now, lowest estimate, or highest estimate rather, is about 250,000 years. So like, it's a huge amount of time between the end of the dinosaurs and anything that we claim to know. And like you say, if it was an asteroid, it would have wiped out the dinosaurs, it would have certainly wiped out all the humans. Especially the food and things that we need to eat. And all the lovely dinosaur meat we've been chowing down on and taking for granted.
And one of the biggest arguments that goes against the idea of Adam and Eve being created is how do you get like how do we have like black? How do we have Chinese?
Yeah.
Do you know how do we have all these completely different looking types of humans?
That's the sort of argument.
It was just done with two people. How do you explain that?
Well, it was Adam and
a
Eve,
strong argument against it.
and they had Cain and Abel. Cain killed Abel, and then we're supposed to believe that if it was 6,000 years ago, they just populated like fucking lice.
I think Christians try and make out that it's to do with the to do with the weather and like the climate of where they were living.
Yeah.
So like,
well, that is true in terms of your skin color and things like that. That is true, but. That's the sort of argument, like you said, it's ridiculous.
Why did they all spread out? The families just split, like you know.
No, it's exactly the same with humans, and they say about the geographical distribution of animals, like all mammals in Australia and that a marsupial, and there would have to be such a fucking wicked and complicated plan for everything to be exactly where it is. And you're entirely right with like human distribution, but that's the sort of ridiculous argument that people have to put up with when they go, I don't believe in evolution. Well, tough. You know, it's not an opinion. You know, it's not like, well, you know, there are conflicting things. There isn't. Evolution means change over time. That's all there is to it.
I've just remembered something. I remember my mum asking a Christian that question and saying, "Well, explain how we got like Chinese people and all." And do you know what he turned around and said?
Oh, please.
Well, Chinese don't believe in a god, and we believe that they're sent by the Antichrist to test us.
No.
To challenge our way of living and things because they've never adopted a god. One God.
What the fuck?
And he was genuine about this. I remember this. I was
He's a
quite young
fucking
when he said
idiot there. I'm really glad you remembered it because it's pretty. I think I would have remembered that.
After bringing up that question. I remembered.
How old are you? Do you remember?
There was this Christian guy that was a friend of my dad's, and he came to the house to like try and like to like convert my mum from like Catholicism. Can't say the word to like just like you know plain old Christianity. Actually, I think he was a Mormon or something.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
See, Mormon would make sense. Because that's how they explain the Mormon.
He came with about 10 kids.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Mormon.
Took over our living room and just all had their own little Bible and were just loving it.
Jesus.
My mum and dad were asking loads of questions, loads of challenging questions, and they were coming out with all sorts of. They had an answer for everything.
I know.
But that was one of them that really stuck out in my.
How old are you?
I must have been about 10. No, 12.
Right.
Must have been about 12 or something.
Yeah, I'm hoping I would have remembered something as silly as that. Yeah, in the Book of Mormon, they say that Red Indians were lost. American white people, lost tribes of Israel that wandered over, like now sort of submerged land masses, and they said they wanted to settle in America. They say that Jesus is from Branson, Missouri, and the Native Americans, who nobody can deny existed at the time, their faces were coloured red by God as a punishment for defying him.
Whoa.
Dude, you know the story of the Book of Mormon. You've seen that South Park, right?
No, I haven't seen much South Park, really.
A guy called Joseph Smith, a convicted fraudster, wrote a book called the Book of Mormon after he said that he prayed to God because he was confused whether he wanted to be whether or not he should be a Protestant or a Catholic. And God said, neither. There's a new religion that I want you to be the leader of. And I've hidden these things called seer stones that will translate golden plates that I've buried. So he organised this big sort of treasure hunt and bugger me if he didn't find didn't find some golden plates and these seer stones. He was, as many people were at the time, illiterate though. He was a good public speaker, and he was, like I say, he was a convicted fucking fraudster and conman, so he was good at getting people's trust. But then because he couldn't write, he had to hire a scribe called Martin Harris, and this guy stood and took down what he was reading, because nobody else could look on the gold plates because that would destroy the fucking magic or whatever. So he put the gold plates into a hat and then used the seer stones to translate it. So he was looking into a hat through some rocks, and this guy was just writing it down. And that's the fastest growing religion in the world today.
Yeah.
An American population. Salt Lake City is their spiritual home. It's the most ridiculous thing ever.
So that's the fastest growing religion at the moment, is it?
Yeah, serious Mormonism.
Surely that's got a lot to do with the fact that they have a lot of children and stuff. In a way. The fact that they grow up into the religion, don't they?
Well, polygamy was a thing as well in early Mormonism, but that sort of contradicted laws in the United States, so they couldn't. So some people still practice it, but it's illegal. It's not formally recognised as a second or third marriage. But no, you're probably right. It's because they have a lot of children. Also, conversion is their thing.
They're allowed like 12 wives, isn't they? Or something?
I'm not sure about the number. I think it might be unlimited. I think there was a.
They're just allowed to keep having wives. But
procreation and the spreading of the word is their thing. Man. Like they're evangelical in the truest sense. In that conversions are points in terms of going to heaven. You're closer to God
because you're creating more followers. Is it?
Yeah, exactly. It's all to the glory of
God. No, I've heard that it's amazing what when you get handed leaflets on the street.
Yeah.
The way that they try and get you to start reading it before it gets to a point where it says, "And God did this."
Yeah.
Thanks to God this happened. One of the things I got handed was something that looked awesome about Jedi. Like I thought this was going to be like the manual to becoming a Jedi. It had something to do with Star Wars on the front of it, right? So I thought, oh wow, let's just start reading it. And what it was is they were comparing Christians to Jedis.
Oh yeah.
And the Force, knowing how to use the Force as the Force of God,
the Holy Spirit.
And knowing how to keep away from the dark side, as in Satan. So I thought
it's metaphorical.
And there was one time where I got one with Aragorn on the front of it, saying "Return of the King." It was comparing like themes in Lord of the Rings and the whole thing to Return of the.
I've never seen those. I wish I had.
Jesus.
Harry Potter and the Trial of Obvious Witchcraft.
Yeah, and I was a sucker for both of these methods. I went for the leaflet. I thought, love Lord of the Rings, love Star Wars. What's this? Oh,
that's amazing. That would be so.
I kept the Lord of the Rings one though, mate.
I'd really like to see it. Obviously, no, but good versus evil is the story. That's why you can use Star Wars and Lord of the Rings as metaphors for Christianity. Same as you could use Islam as a different.
I had one about the Welsh rugby team as well.
What side are you on? It was called. They handed out the Six Nations.
Because they think, people like in Wales love rugby. That'll get them to stop and grab a flyer. They try and get you to read it.
And then you open Bread of Heaven, of course.
They do it on purpose, don't they? To get you to start reading it in the first place.
They do it on purpose. But it's amazing how when you go, Lord of the Rings, it's about God. Who do they think is going to go, Lord of the Rings? Well, our Lord? Really? And then just tap them on the shoulder. Sorry, I've just read that. Is this true? And they go, yeah, it's all true. Fuck, I want to know more. And just sit down in town on the concrete and just, listen to them preach.
Little mistake we made. I've been reading up about the devil and Satan and stuff.
Right.
And of course, it said he doesn't appear until late on in the Bible. But of course,
hell doesn't appear until later.
Oh, I see hell. Right.
Oh no, he's in the Garden of Eden.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say.
He's the snake.
He's in the origin. Yeah.
What's that?
He's in the origin story. Satan.
Oh right.
About a fallen angel. But this must have happened before, like on the third day, or when he rested, and he went like that, and then he just saw Lucifer like pissing in his kettle or something.
I think there's a lot of different. That's the thing. Lucifer, Satan, Beelzebub, Azazel. There's a lot of different kind of names that some people say are distinct entities, and some people say are just.
I think Lucifer's a Roman god. I think a sun god. Yeah. There's loads of fucking like old myths. As soon as the more reading you do about old myths, the more you have a better understanding of how things turn into religion. Just because people are zealous about it. There's loads of great historical figures who were actually because Christmas they say it's the birth of Jesus. Well, there's no mention of his fucking day of birth in the Bible. Muslims think he was born in the summer, and he's the second most quoted prophet in the Quran next to Muhammad. It's called Isa in the Quran. So they reckon he was born in the summer. There's no date, but there are loads of other gods. Mithras was the most famous because he has the most sort of commonalities with Jesus. Horus, though, the Egyptian god, distinctly written down in verifiable documents. They were born on the 25th of December. Mithras, whose followers are called Mithrites, he was born on the 25th of December to a virgin. His the Mithrites' spiritual home was Papal Hill in the Vatican, where the Vatican is now. He was known as the light, the saviour, the one, the true word. He was able to raise the dead. He was able to make sustenance appear from thin air. He was executed along with some followers of his ways, and then was dead for 3 days and then rose again. So yeah, it's exactly the same. But it's and Apollonius of Tyana as well. All those things happened to that guy.
But those similarities, those comparisons, I remember reading somewhere that they were trying to claim that surely these similar symbols and characters meant that something did happen, but that everyone in different parts of the world have interpreted it in different ways.
But Horace was saying the Egyptian civilization was thousands of years before.
Something had happened. It was proof that there was some kind of
They could say that, or it's probably more likely that a story travels and mutates and changes like Chinese whispers, because there was no global communication in this time, was there? So things spread and develop over time. Dionysus is another one, isn't he?
Yeah,
resurrected god, like the... Yeah.
But then there's also a theory, which is a really interesting theory, that when Egyptians and all thought they were seeing like angels, they were actually aliens. Even in like any religion where they thought they'd seen like a light and they'd seen heard a voice, there is actually like aliens coming down.
That is a really, really good link into a new segment that I want to try, Tone, which I think we're going to start now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Go on then.
Are you sitting comfortably?
Yes.
Are you feeling well?
I'm feeling okay, yeah. This
might end soon. It's time to enter the Twilight Tone.
The reason this came up, of course, did you see this in the news about Jack the Ripper?
No, actually, no, I haven't. I haven't read the news for like 4 or 5 days.
It's about 5 days ago this happened.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
No, I think it was on Sunday.
Sunday
I read it anyway.
So you know Jack the Ripper, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
Murderer in Whitechapel in London.
1888.
1888.
What, 5 women?
5 women, prostitutes.
Yeah.
Many films made about him. From Hell with Johnny Depp, isn't it?
Yes.
It's about him. And tons of other stuff.
Terrible film. Brilliant book by Alan Moore and Eddie Campbell.
Yeah. And why was it in the...
Because his identity has always been a mystery. Nobody knew who it was. There were plenty of people named, such as...
So Walter Sickert. Walter Sickert was one. Famous Victorian painter.
Yeah.
The one... there is one of the Queen's nephews or something.
That's right.
Victoria's nephews. The other one, the one that From Hell is about, at least the book, is about her surgeon.
Yes.
A guy called William Gull. That's built around the theory that one of the Queen's nephews or something got this girl pregnant who worked in a sweet shop. And
right.
that and then the prostitutes were friends of hers, these 5 women, and they were linked in a way because they knew the secret. And so therefore she had him, the surgeon, kill.
And as well, some of the disembowelment was done surgically, a lot of people said at the time. So as somebody who only possessed a surgeon's skill would know how to sort of...
I think that's pretty much where it comes from. I think that's the basis of it.
Yeah.
This week, the true identity, I'm going to put true in inverted commas there in front of you, has been discovered.
By a gentleman named Russell Edwards. He has a book coming out on the subject.
Yeah, funny that.
Called Naming Jack the Ripper. But he's
written the book and then found out.
Apparently. Ripperologists, they're called. They call themselves, these guys. They're called Ripperologists because people get really obsessive about it, pouring over details of this great mystery.
Yeah.
You can go on Ripper tours in London. They'll walk you around where people were killed and murdered, tell you the whole story.
That's a bit dark, isn't it?
Talk you through it. But he claims that Jack the Ripper was a 23-year-old Polish barber called Aaron Kosminski.
Bloody Poles coming over here and...
No, he says this because one of the murder victims, he managed to buy a shawl that was around her neck or something when she was murdered, and they've extracted DNA and tested it, and they say there's 100% match to this guy's relatives.
Wow.
And he was someone that was...
And this has only just come out, they've only just done this?
Yeah,
he's just publishing the book to him.
Yeah, he was in the fold as one of the suspects, but yeah, this guy, after he bought the shawl... Because I saw the scientists on the news... And they said using new DNA recognition techniques. Now, if it was that would be the groundbreaking thing. Do you know what I mean? Out of the news, I feel. I know it's not as sensationalist as Jack the Ripper named, but he said new DNA techniques. Now I want to know a little bit more, and there was nothing I could find online to describe these new DNA matching techniques, but they matched with his family apparently, 100% match. So now he's named it. This guy's other job as well, because he was interviewed in what looked like his shop, which sold Jack the Ripper memorabilia. So
I dare say he does some Ripper tours as well. Possibly.
Doubtless. I think I'm being healthily sceptical. It would be great if it was just confirmed and somebody were to publish the paper saying, this is what happened and this is how we did it.
Well, there are a lot of people now saying all these claims don't stand up to scrutiny, etc.
Yeah.
The mystery hasn't been solved.
No, it's two guys. It was one guy who's the Ripperologist and one scientist who he knows. So there's nothing sort of peer-reviewed. I'm sure that when the book sells enough copies, he'll try and do a bit of science.
So this recent thing in the news about Jack the Ripper made you want to do...
the Twilight Tome, mate.
Twilight.
Yeah.
Because we thought, what other... if we know the answer to that mystery, maybe...
Will Antonio know the answer?
That's right.
Some of the other mysteries.
What does Antonio think about some other mysteries?
Yeah,
what does Antonio think, now that we're in the Twilight Zone, about the building of the Great Pyramids?
Why are you asking me? There's no way in hell I'm going to work that out.
There's a lot of conflicting ideas about it.
Yeah.
The idea that millions of Jews were enslaved, a la the Bible, when Moses freed them, is not supported by any geological or anthropological evidence. There's nothing to suggest that happened or that Moses even existed. Man.
Okay, so why? So if we're suggesting, did you suggest earlier that it might be something that was dropped down by like aliens?
You said aliens.
You said aliens.
In ancient Egypt.
But why the hell would aliens drop these sandy fucking pyramids down? I'm sure they've got more effective things they could do to this planet that
to travel light years and then to go. Well, maybe because some people think so. It was aliens who just taught humans how to build and wanted to, because the Egyptian civilization and empire we know lasted for a long time. One of the first great civilizations in terms of astronomy and mathematics, society, building. So maybe in Predator 2, in Alien versus Predator, the idea is that the predators came to Earth and taught humans how to build.
Great source material, mate.
On the proviso that they would be allowed to host aliens every 100 or so years, and so teenage predators could come down and kill them to prove their worth. So that's one theory.
All I can say about the pyramids, is that is a real mystery. Right there. What a heck of a mystery. We'll never know. I've read, apparently there's loads of barriers around it now that just spoil the image of it, the scenery of it.
Well, there are loads though. You can go to several other smaller ones. There are 3 in Giza, and those are the 3 that people go and
they're the really iconic ones.
They're the ones you see on there. It's not a sheer edge either.
There was
sort of knobbly, but it's thousands of years old.
There was a thing a year or 2 ago, if I remember rightly. I'll try and find it, and you can maybe post a link up. But it was these photographers that stayed inside the compound,
right?
Like hid somewhere and climbed up the side, and they took photographs from the top of the Great Pyramid at night.
Oh.
It looks amazing.
The sky is ridiculously clear as well. In the desert.
I know this is a bit random. But am I right in saying obviously cats are quite holy to Egyptians? Aren't they?
Right. Yeah.
So if a cat walked up to the Sphinx and took a shit on it, would the Egyptians think, "Oh, that's all right. That's all right. It's a cat's done it. This is a sign.
Yeah.
This is something important."
Well,
and leave it there to just dry out and stink the site out.
Good thing about the desert is a lot of it is sand. It is one big litter tray. That's probably why they kept cats as or they thought they were holy, because they never seem to sort of go to the toilet at all. They're the cleanest animal ever. When in fact they just go outside, do a shit in some sand, cover it over.
Or they thought that they were constantly trying to fertilise the ground.
Of course.
In Egypt, do they still mummify people?
I don't think so.
like when they die? Can they choose to have it done or something?
I reckon you might be able to opt for mummification.
Or is it like thought to be like really like unhealthy for the environment? Is it really unhygienic?
I don't see why.
I don't see why. No more unhygienic than a dead, rotting person.
How does it work though? Because the thing is with those pyramids, like the tombs in them were like airless and stuff, weren't they?
Yeah,
so that's partly why they're so well preserved, isn't it? It's not just the process.
I think
itself,
it's not because you're in all-out bandage, you're in like whatever they embalm you in.
The temperature doesn't change. Right. There's no moisture inside there, so it's
What's next in the Twilight Zone?
A heck of a mystery.
A heck of a mystery. Do you know about Lord Lucan? Does that come up in your book?
Lord Lucan.
We find out the identity of Jack the Ripper. Will we ever know what happened to Lord Lucan?
What's Lord Lucan?
Go ahead,
do remember
Ken.
coming across the name.
Sorry?
I do remember coming across the name. Yeah.
Oh, nice. See if this rings a bell. Try and find it in your book while Ken's explaining.
John Bingham, 7th Earl of Lucan. Okay? He's a British peer suspected of murdering his children's nanny, a woman named Sandra Rivet. And then he disappeared without trace. He's never been seen since.
What do you think about that, Tone? Right, instead of... Because you
I'm
don't
not
know...
being funny, right?
40
Well,
years
because he
now.
disappeared, meaning can't be found,
We've
doesn't
never
mean
been
he's
found.
just disappeared.
Yeah.
He's
how
just
would
done
you-
a really good job at hiding.
Yeah, but that's the point. I didn't mean that he vanished.
No, I know you didn't mean that. But what I mean is, why is that? I don't see why that is such a mystery.
If you had to disappear, if you had done a murder, let's call it a just murder, but a murder nonetheless, how would you disappear? How would you just go away?
Oh man, that is difficult. But then,
Now, Lord Lucan was a peer of the realm and relatively famous man, especially famous after this.
well, he
A lot of
definitely-
people looking for him.
But he also had quite a bit of cash.
Well, he had quite a bit of gambling debt, so I don't know quite how much
Could
money
he
he
have
had on
changed?
him.
Could he not have just changed his appearance like completely?
Yeah?
Maybe he did.
Had some sort of surgery, like paid some guy to give him like massive surgery, and then killed the guy afterwards. So
Oh no, now that's 2 murders. What am I going to
You
do?
never know.
Oh, the Queen's surgeon probably again, implicated in another
Yeah.
mystery. We should mention that Tone has brought his book, A History of the 20th Century, with him. Because
Yeah.
we decided you feature so heavily. Tone, you're the best thing. You're the best thing ever. And that's why a lot of the features are based around you.
Yeah, I don't know whether to be.
Are you
glad
ready?
Or, or offended. But, okay. Well, carry on. Go on. Yeah.
Are you ready
Yeah.
for the second time this evening?
Yeah.
It's time for a question of Tone.
Okay.
These haven't been sent in by anybody, but not any submissions for a question of Tone. If you want to get in contact with us for any reason, you can follow us on Twitter at TheLast7 or email us thelast7podcast@gmail.com. Best, worst things of the week, cunt, hero of the week, a question of Tone, or now, of course, the Twilight Tone. Question of Tone. Special edition, 10 questions in a quick fire round about the 20th century.
Yeah, you do realise, Dan, that if they're going to have anything to do with dates and names, I can't contain that sort of information.
The 20th century, if it's anything to do with dates or names or events of the 20th century, you can fuck right
I'll
up.
give it my best shot. It'd be a miracle if I can get any.
You've underlined some of the more interesting ones that you found, though. You
Yeah,
said-
well, I basically, knowing that you were going to ask me questions about the 20th century and for having failed to do enough research, well, not having failed, but knowing that regardless of what I read, it just goes in one ear and out the other within seconds. So
That's not true, though, Tone. You're an actor. You've
but no, but
you've
I
done
mean,
Shakespeare, for
for
God's sake.
some reason, my brain works really strangely. I can't contain heavy amounts of information, like facts, like dates and names.
Question number 1.
Yeah.
In which year did the Titanic sink?
1912.
Nice. Number 2. Whose assassination is said to have been the catalyst for the start of World War One?
Franz Ferdinand,
Beautiful.
Duke of Serbia.
Ooh, after being released from prison, Nelson Mandela became president of which country?
South Africa.
Nice. Who shot JFK?
Oswald, Hardy Oswald or something?
Hardy Oswald. I'll take
I'll
it.
give it to him, yeah.
Yeah.
Harvey
Something
Oswald.
like that.
Who shot Lee Harvey Oswald?
Wasn't it the police or something, or someone
Nope.
CIA or something?
We'll come back to it. I'll give you stuff at the end. Number 6. Name the 3 astronauts aboard Apollo 11. First manned mission to the moon.
I only know. Oh God! I nearly said Louis Armstrong. Oh God! I can't think of his first name. Oh God! Oh God!
Well, who's the other one?
Giles Armstrong.
That's your sister's boyfriend.
Oh God! What the hell? Oh God. I can't think of the first name. That's terrible, isn't it?
What about the? You said you knew two of them. So what about the other one?
Oh, I don't remember. Oh God, I don't remember the name of the other one. Was it? He wasn't American, was he? The other one. It was.
They were all American.
Oh damn.
He does have a funny name.
He does have a funny name, yeah.
Is it Fritz something? Something Fritz or?
It's got a Z in it. We've got to move on.
Oh God.
Number 7. Who was queen at the beginning of the 20th century?
Queen at the beginning of the 20th century.
Yep.
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. Our Queen Elizabeth now, or Elizabeth I?
No. Elizabeth II. I don't know.
Yeah, she is getting on.
Oh God.
Number 8. The television.
I don't know anything about the British royal family.
The television was
Except that Harry is a
invented
stoner.
in which decade?
Television in which?
The home television was invented in which decade?
For 40s.
I'm sorry, mate. Number 9. Whose body is on display in a mausoleum in Russia's Red Square?
Stalin.
Ooh, close. And number 10. In which year did the Berlin Wall fall?
Go in 1983.
Oh, unlucky. Tone, that was a valiant effort, mate, on a question of tone. Really good. You started strongly, tailed a bit towards the middle, and then the less said about the end of it.
It was only a few years. Oh no, I know it. Wasn't it the year before I was born, 1986?
Nope.
Damn. It was close to it though, wasn't it?
Yeah, very close. We were all alive. 1989.
After. Right, it was after.
So let's just revisit. Who shot Lee Harvey Oswald?
I don't know.
His name was Jack Ruby.
Right, Jack Ruby.
Club owner.
That's part of the conspiracy.
See, we just read that as well, and I didn't remember the name. That's what I mean about my brain. Just right.
That's part of the conspiracy theory as well, because Jack Ruby was a nightclub owner with links to organised crime, and there is a story that several of the president's bodyguard guys were in that nightclub the night before.
Yeah.
I don't know if that bit's true, but that's, yeah.
The 3 astronauts aboard Apollo 11 were Neil Armstrong,
Right.
Buzz Aldrin.
No. I don't
Well,
know.
yeah, they were, mate.
No, I know
that's
I'm
not
not
what you meant.
disputing it, but yeah, hey,
know,
conspiracy.
Yeah, not really.
We've been talking about conspiracies.
And the third one, which I thought would be the one to trivia, his name was Michael Collins, and he was the pilot of the command module. So he was flying about the moon while the other two were having a fucking whale of a time. The body on display in a mausoleum in Russia's Red Square.
Begins with M, doesn't it?
Lenin.
Oh shit. Okay.
So like Stalin, but earlier.
I remember reading that.
There's some really good stuff actually. When I wanted to make sure. Well, I wanted to make sure where it was. Yeah, we've done the Berlin Wall. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I got it right where it was. I thought it was in Red Square, but I wanted to make sure. There have been because his body's on display and it's open from 10 a.m. to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and queues are not as big as they were, but people queue up still for ages to go see him. His body, which is on display in a glass case, has been shot 8 times. And they've had to do restorative work, and obviously because when he died in the 30s, 40s?
Yeah, the 30s, I think.
Good
question, I don't know.
No, so it was embalmed to the best techniques at the time, but obviously his skin pales and things, so there's loads of, they take him out every now and again, touch him up. Yeah. Well, to reapply makeup and things. But they treat his skin blemishes with acetic acid and vodka. Tony, you were saying that you were hoping for other questions to come up and the events that you found most interesting in the 20th century. So yeah, give us a sample.
Yeah, these are a list of things that I think have had a big impact on the way that we live today and the way the world is now. And that's why I chose them, I think, because for me, that's what I find more interesting about events of 20th century is
how it affects
the world we live in today.
Everything does, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. All of it does, obviously, in some way, but these are what I think are the most
cool,
the biggest things.
The most significant.
So, well, actually saying that, there's a few things. Right.
I love that. So, the first review of that list you've given. No, they're the most serious things. The things that people... actually, sorry.
I realised I stuck a few things in there that were probably just because I liked them. So the first one is 1902, where an Austrian guy called Karl Landsteiner discovers about blood groups.
Oh yeah, the A, B and O system, that's right, yeah.
Because I think obviously if that hadn't been discovered, then people would be having blood transfusions of the wrong blood type, and it was just killing
We spoke about blood transfusions on this podcast, and the earliest ones done in the fucking 18th century.
Yeah.
So yeah, loads of people were dying, well, from blood poisoning, I guess, if you have the wrong...
I think so.
So yeah, I'm glad that was discovered quite early on in the 19th century, 20th century, 1902, rather than, you know, in the 50s, because we were... might have been a bit more of an issue if it came a bit later on down the line. Right. Then, as well, in that decade, I've got 1903, where... So we mentioned, well, actually, we didn't mention it before. We mentioned when Franz Ferdinand in Serbia was killed. But before that, army officers killed the king and the queen of Serbia, which was believed to be the very beginnings of World War One.
Right.
Starting. And then after that, the Duke, Franz Ferdinand, got assassinated. 1921, the beginnings of modern drugs.
Pharmaceuticals.
1921.
Right.
And I can't remember specifically how it was. Something to do with hormones. Or something. 1926. The creation of Mickey Mouse.
That's right, that's iconic.
Just because I think that's had a massive impact on children's entertainment today. You know, it wouldn't be what it was without
still about
creation of Mickey Mouse.
The opening theme tune to Mickey Mouse's Playhouse or Funhouse, whatever it was, still haunts me to this very day.
You'll be around a long time after us as well.
Moving on to the 1930s, I've got two for this decade. I've got 1935 with the invention of radar and sonar.
Nice.
And I guess that is really important because the way that we, like, I guess that's kind of like one of the first things of navigation, really, and like how you kind of...
What a really awesome way of doing it.
Yeah.
Filmed about it recently. It's on the BBC iPlayer, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Castles
right.
in the Sky with Eddie Izzard.
Eddie Izzard, that's right, yeah.
And 1938, the release of the first animated feature-length movie, Snow White.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Because they thought that Walt Disney was crazy for thinking that it would work to do a feature-length animation film, and he did, and obviously now you've got loads.
And it took fucking ages.
Yeah.
Did it win the Best Picture Oscar?
And it was done all with like the original kind of
of course,
drawings and flicking through the
it's a fucking flick book.
Can't believe
24 frames a second.
Yeah.
We have to ingest.
24 drawings a second.
I know, bollocks of that.
Crazy.
It was stop motion. Yeah, did it win Best Picture Oscar? I think it did. It won an Oscar, maybe for a score or something like that. But when it did win said Oscar, the production team were given one full-size Oscar and then 7 little miniature ones.
Cool.
Isn't that cool?
That's awesome. Moving on to 1940s. 1941, the first use of antibiotics.
Beautiful.
So, when I said in 1921 it was the beginning of modern drugs, I think that was just when they started to realise that they could sort of...
Right, guys, there's loads of people still ill. We need something to put in our bodies.
But they didn't put it in use, I guess.
We need medicine, or maybe a tablet.
1941. 1945, I put the Hiroshima. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah. Hiroshima.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the correct way.
However it is, because I just think, that was when we realised the catastrophe that could be caused by atomic bombs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we still after that we've made plenty more.
Yeah.
And
well,
it's just
it wasn't the only one dropped on Japan.
Yeah, no, I know, and I can't believe that even after that we decided to keep building them.
Well, they thought it was a deterrent. People argued that it ended the war.
Yeah, fucking hell. 1948. So I've got 3 in the 1940s. I've got 2 so far. This is for Israel founded, because I guess that's the main. Well, the fact from the moment Israel were founded, they weren't given actual there wasn't. They weren't actually given specific land.
That's right. Yeah.
Marks of the country. They were just told, "Oh, now you are a nation," and that's when the war obviously. Conflict started to happen then between
nearly immediately
because they were arguing over what could be Israel's and what could be Palestine. So
land promised by God.
Yeah. So I thought that was a major. Now that with everything happening now, that was a major.
When you say now, it's one of the more interesting things about how obviously there's a lot of fighting at the moment, but the fighting has been continuous since the 40s.
Yeah, it has. Yeah. And in 1948, as well as Israel being founded, the first computer with electronic memory was built.
Oh, that's such a good fact.
Yeah.
Well done.
This one is a bit more of a personal one. But what would the world be like without rock and roll? In 1954, Bill Haley introduces rock and roll with the hit single "Rock Around the Clock."
Ah,
Gonna rock around the clock. You know.
I do know it.
1961, the female pill launched.
Ah, brilliant.
Yeah, very important. Would you fuck without it?
We fucked with it as well, which is the best thing in the world.
1967, the first heart transplant.
Ah, amazing.
Major breakthrough in being able to save
I think
a life.
I think there's
But
a
it was
brilliant...
done on a dog, wasn't it? The very first one, I think.
Oh, right, I
The
see.
first heart transplant was done on a dog.
We make him do everything
to work out to
space.
see if it could be done and without killing, I guess.
All right, one dog was already dead. I was going to
After
say.
25 dogs, it was successful.
Where are we going to get a healthy dog heart from? We're going to have to kill this dog.
Moving on to the 70s, I've got two for the 70s. 1976, Apple iComputer.
No.
1978, the first test tube baby.
Louise Brown? Louise Brown, is that her name?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not born in a test tube, as loads of people still think.
Yeah.
like,
she kicked away.
Like they were dropping like pipettes of like hormone or something onto this little fetus in a fucking test tube.
For the 1980s, I've got 1984. The start of email and internet.
Harvard.
And
Sending mail across campus. Yeah.
and finally, in the 90s, 1998, the crisis in the global economy. In July and August 1998 alone, $4 trillion were wiped off the value of shares worldwide. So yeah, that was it really.
Everything's
Not
built
that
on
exciting, but just the ones that I thought
I
stood out.
disagree, mate. I think it was
Really?
lovely to have picked all of those things out that you did. I'm surprised the Beatles weren't in there.
Well, but they're not important in the way things are today. I thought when it came to music, the most important thing was the introduction. Well, was the start of rock and roll.
Any nominations for Hero of the Week?
Yeah, it's only because it pleased me. But did you see the thing about Mel Brooks
No?
this week? He did the thing, in LA with the hands in the concrete
Yeah.
signed it and stuff. And I'll show you the picture, Dan, you'll see. Yeah, he stuck on an extra finger, especially for it.
Obviously going to check a link up to that photograph. That's amazing.
Brilliant, yeah. Yeah, it's not real, like I say.
Well, no, yeah, it's
one
really
of them,
good though.
But yeah, he did it for that, and I just thought,
You didn't
why
notice
is-
it straight away.
why has no one thought of that before?
Yeah, just get the cock and balls out. So I'm sure Ron Jeremy's star has that. My Hero of the Week, I would like to award to a non-profit pub in Portland, Oregon. Started as a community initiative with 6 friends, and they built a pub, and 100% of the profits of that pub go to a charity that you pick off the pub menu, along with your food and beer.
Wow.
Changing the world one pint at a time. Cunt of the Week, obviously a load more than nominations for Hero of the Week. CeeLo Green, you know him? He was the voice in Gnarls Barkley. I think you're crazy.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
He also released an album called Lady Killer
Right.
a few years back, and had a really, really great tunes on it. I was really a massive fan. But last week he tweeted because he was up on a charge of unlawfully giving a woman ecstasy. Well, you can always unlawfully give somebody ecstasy, but forced her, or spiked her rather, with ecstasy. And then there was obviously a court hearing where she then claimed that she'd been assaulted then while she was asleep afterwards. And he tweeted asking, or rather saying that victims of rape remember. So only conscious victims of rape are actually victims of rape. So that's CeeLo Green, nomination for Cunt of the Week.
He really doesn't get it, does he?
No, he's deleted those tweets after his management probably rang up and went, "What the fuck are you doing? You're in court, you stupid bastard." And then tweeted things afterwards saying, "I would never sort of condone harming any woman, and I'm going to be exonerated, and everything's fine." CeeLo, and he's been dropped from a couple of music festivals.
And that
he
was
due to play at.
after his manager took control of the Twitter account, I
Yeah,
imagine.
definitely. Yeah, it was really well punctuated and things like those statements you see people read outside court.
Yeah. Wanker.
Another Cunt of the Week, Ray Rice and Janae Rice.
Oh, yes, of course.
Read this story yesterday. Ray Rice, NFL player, sacked after beating up his wife. all caught on CCTV. They were arguing in a lift, and it seemed that she spat in his face, and then they had a fight a bit, exchanged blows, and then he knocked her out with a massive punch to the fucking head and sort of dragged her away.
Dragged her out of the lift.
Dragged her out of the lift. The reason why she's on there, he's a cunt for doing that, she's on there because she's now come out with a statement saying how hurt she is about the way he's being treated by the media and the public.
God.
And how love has been removed from their lives. I think love was removed when that fucking
punch
knuckle hit the jaw.
They were engaged at that point.
Oh, fantastic.
They married since that incident.
Third nomination for Cunt of the Week is, of course, MPs. Just in general. But this week on the news, there is going to be a cap, thank goodness, on train fares until April next year, or maybe even January next year, when it will rise by 2.1% in conjunction with inflation. So 2.1%, things go up. That's just the general rate. So people should get paid 2.1% more. Never happens, and things just increased in price. Tax and duty goes up. It's gone up recently again on fags and beer. So hurrah! But because MPs have done that, they've really taken it upon themselves to share in the crisis and proposed a 10% pay increase for themselves.
As I understand it, though, and I might be wrong about this, it's not MPs themselves that are saying we need a pay rise, is it?
No.
After the expenses scandal a few years ago, they set up a body to advise on that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's them saying that there needs to be... Now, I don't know who's on this advisory committee, probably some MPs.
Yeah.
But there are MPs, to be fair, that have come out and said this isn't...
No, there are.
Nonsense.
Not proportional representation, I don't think, of what people think about it. It was 100% no. And pay rise should be, if anything, in line with inflation, if not less. Because they claim that they don't get a very good salary. 60 odd grand?
Something like that.
64,
yeah,
68 grand, I think.
Expenses
but all
anyway.
expenses. And when we say expenses, it's not all the stupid shit that you hear about. Duck islands and toilet seats and monogrammed well covers, although those are stupid. No, the mortgage is part of it. Your second mortgage is part of expenses. So the most expensive thing you'll ever buy in London, in the centre of fucking London, the most expensive thing anybody will ever buy in one of the most expensive places, done, covered. 60 grand for spends, food allowance and drink allowance every day, 30 to 50 quid.
Yeah, they're not like normal people that you have to buy your own food out of your wages.
Yeah.
It's spending fucking money, and that's enough. Or the argument, and this is the most aggravating thing. Well, you need to pay the best money to get the best people. I don't see what more perks they can give. And it's clearly not true with politicians, because some of them are fucking idiots. Who's going to be cunt of the week, man?
I think the guy that battered his wife.
Ray Rice?
Yeah.
I was going to say CeeLo Green.
Okay, CeeLo Green.
I think that's the most dangerous one. I mean, alright, Ray Rice did something despicable, like to his partner,
Yeah.
But
that's forgivable, yeah?
No, it's not as forgivable.
That's alright.
No, it's just, I'm just saying, it's like, he hasn't...
Cut the guy some slack,
No,
he's having
no.
a day.
No, don't cut me any slack. I think what's happened, I agree with it. I agree with the consequences of that, but he's having to, deal with those consequences, isn't he? What I'm saying is I think that CeeLo Green stuff's much more dangerous, and I think it's because I think a lot of people probably agree with that, and I think that's the bit that I find really...
Yeah, I mean, his wife, she just got back up afterwards and she got over it. It was okay. But you're right. No, I'm sorry, Ken. No, I'm sorry. It's just because I think he's the biggest cunt.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I'm defending my decision.
Impassioned pleas from both. Because it affects my wallet personally, I'm going to go for MPs.
Yeah.
So CeeLo Green, Ray Rice and British members of Parliament, you are all this week's Cunt of the Week!
Honourable cunts.
Right, we've actually eschewed best and worst things of the week because we all lead really sedentary, boring lives, it turns out. For this week, at least. I'm sure there'll be more next week. If you want to send us your best and worst things of the week so we don't have this horrendous void, you can email us, thelast7podcast@gmail.com, or follow us on Twitter, @thelast7. You can also check us out on Facebook. This week in history, then. This week, in 1957, the Wolfenden Report contends that homosexuality should not be a crime in the UK.
Yeah.
So yeah, 1957. Seems too current, doesn't it, really?
Right,
but,
wow, yeah.
This week, of course, 9/11. But moving on swiftly. On a positive note, this week in 2005, England won the Ashes for the first time since 1987.
I don't care about that at all. I don't understand. I don't understand the cricket.
I love cricket. Tone?
No, I don't at all.
I don't get it, mate. I don't know what the Ashes is. It just seems to be on all the time as well. I don't understand why it's significant. I watched some cricket with you the other week as well.
What a brilliant.
Not really, man. You were getting excited at some points, and I was just...
2020 cricket as well, the best cricket. They have to fucking smash it about the place.
I can't believe they haven't made cricket illegal for the fact that they use a ball that could kill someone when it hits them. Why is cricket still allowed to play? Why have they not changed the ball?
They wear helmets.
It's so dangerous.
Yeah, a tennis ball would be shit, and you can get spin.
Yeah,
you can
but
get.
That's the thing. When we were younger, we used to play cricket. We didn't have all the guards.
That's right. Yeah,
I wasn't wearing a helmet. I used to be scared to play cricket.
Yeah.
We played it in school, in primary school, in like year 6. After school, like cricket. But I don't know why the hell I was going. I was shitting myself.
Just getting battered.
The thing is, being the batter is scary as fuck, because obviously you get the ball thrown every now and again. But also being the bowler is scary as fuck, because you never know if the batter's just going to hit it straight back at you.
Smash it too, but that's the thing about professional cricket. They know all about that danger, so see, it's dangerous, Tone. There's an element of danger. You get to hit straight to the bowler, you have court and ball. Which means, like, a bowler bowls it, batsman hits it, doesn't hit the ground, and they catch it straight away. The reactions, the slip catches and stuff.
Wow.
Fucking hell, cricket's so exciting.
Okay.
This week, in 1997, Scotland made the decision to govern itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, they made that decision
Yeah.
a lot. In 1996 and 1995.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We love Scotland. Speaking of Scotland, do you know of Hercules the Bear?
No.
As a Scotch?
No.
Right.
I
This
didn't
week...
know he was a... What?
This week, in 1980, Hercules the Bear is found after running off during the filming of a Kleenex advert. Andy Robin, who was a wrestler in his day, bought Hercules.
Right.
And you should look it up.
Definitely.
Kept him as a pet. He was extremely famous. Like I say, he was in a Kleenex advert. He featured in the film Octopussy. He was on the cover of Time magazine, and he promoted the Miss World competition.
What do you mean he promoted it?
He was like, the official bear of Miss World.
Oh, right, sorry. I thought you meant he toured, like, in his speeches about how great it was.
Unfortunately, he slipped a disc when he was filming a documentary for Disney, and he was unable to walk after that Hercules, and he died shortly after. But there's a big statue of him in Scotland that was commissioned by his owner and his wife and their friends. The big bronze statue. He was about 9.5 feet tall, I think, something like that, when he was stood upright. Awesome. But yeah, he escaped when he was filming this Kleenex advert, and when they found him, several weeks later, he'd lost 20 stone in weight.
That's the Scottish diet.
Yeah.
It's not healthy for bears either.
No, he lost 20 stone. When he was when he got back, though, they were like, yeah, he's consumed over 36,000 deep fried Mars bars. He's really, really hungry.
Yeah, diabetic.
Diabetic. That's where the word comes from.
Yeah.
In history that they teach you in school, I think there's certain things they should just get rid of, not bother teaching. But I think there's a lot more important things they should teach. That
What would you get rid of that you were taught in school?
Teach.
Would you got rid of the tutors and the
Well,
students?
I don't think they need to. I don't think they need to teach about I don't think they need to teach about like the royal family and stuff, like how the about the history of like the queens and kings. I don't think that's a waste of time. I think they need to teach things. Like one day, are they gonna? Is the history they learn? Is it gonna be more recent? Is it gonna be more recent rather than like far? Do you know what I mean? Like why go all the way back? Why go so far? I don't get it. Like surely things that
You read that book on the 20th century. You've gone, well, nothing will beat that. No other century's gonna beat that.
No, but sure.
No way. Right. In 17, forget it. What the fuck? It's no Shakespeare, Tone. You're just discounting him. History starts in 1850. That's it. America's already there. Everything I know is kind of how it is.
It's because it's a cumulative process, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
The 20th century, obviously, it starts in 1900, but everything that happens is based on the previous century, which in turn is based on the previous century.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why you keep going back.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, a drive to
So
understand the whole
you'd stop
story.
all archaeology with that. You'd just be like, nah, too old. Nah, fuck it. Alright, since it's the 13th episode, I thought I'd go back to a bit of pseudoscience for the week. Ready?
Welcome return.
subject of numerology then. Numerology is any belief in divine, mystical, or a special relationship between a number and some coinciding events. Numerological divination by systems such as isopsophy were popular among early mathematicians, but are no longer considered part of maths and are considered pseudo-mathematics. Like most pseudoscience enthusiasts, numerologists often argue amongst themselves, especially regarding number interpretations. A few of these arbitrary definitions include 1 for the individual or self, 2 for balance, 8 for power or sacrifice, and of course 5 for restlessness. Alphabetic systems are also used in numerology. Whole numbers are assigned up to 3 letters, and therefore words are given meaning according to their numerical value. This practice in the Jewish tradition, which makes connections between words of equal value, is called gematria. 2 of the most famous numerological ideas are also the most misunderstood. The number 666 is said to be the number of the beast in the Bible's book of Revelations, the beast being the antagonistic creature that appears briefly about 2/3 into the apocalyptic vision. Streets, bus routes, zip codes, hotel rooms, and houses have changed their numbers from 666 due to the negative connotations. However, in the earliest known version of the Bible, the number is cited as 616. The end of the world according to the Mayan calendar in 2012 is another one of these. In the opinion of many, the Mayans were said to be so good at predicting seasons and solar and lunar events that because their calendar ended in 2012 Common Era, they had predicted the apocalypse. The fact is that the Mayan calendar is extremely long and began in 3116 BC. In modern terms, their calendar did not so much predict the end of the world as it did switch from December to January. The other thing to mention with regard to this is that the Mayan calendar works on a base 20 counting system. This is due to the fact that humans have got 10 fingers and 10 toes, and our digits, the dexterous protrusions of an evolved mammal, have no cosmic significance. Numerology is bollocks. Just because it was the 13th episode, we said, ooh, unlucky for 13, but why the fuck is 13 considered an unlucky number?
And it's crazy as well, the impact that the 666 has had on
I know.
general, even people that aren't religious will just refuse to, use that number.
Oh my god. Do you know the numbers on a roulette wheel add up to 666?
So,
Ooh.
but that suits the whole gambling thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they did it.
It's interesting you mentioned the Mayan calendar and that, because apparently it's in backtons is what they're called. The sequences. There are 13 of them. And the 13th one ends,
What a lovely connection.
Ended. Yeah. It is. People do take it really seriously though. Like buildings that don't have 13 floors and things.
Yeah, don't have 13 floors. It's really popular in America.
Yeah.
So much so there's been books and films called The 13th Floor. A lot of hotels don't have the number 13 on the doors.
Well, how does that work then? So when they get to 12...
12 to 14.
Yeah, there is a 13th floor. Yeah, the 14th floor is the 13th, but they don't call it the number 13.
Yeah, from 14 up is floating.
That's crazy, man.
Is it the Last Supper?
That's one of the theories, yeah.
What are the other ones?
This thing about on Friday the 13th of October 1307, King Philip IV of France ordered the arrest of the Knights Templar, and most of the knights were tortured and killed.
Right.
It's stretching, because the Last Supper one is like...
What year was that supposed to happen?
People. 1307.
Oh, too long ago. Fucking hell, forget about it, right-o?
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking who cares?
No.
This is interesting. In ancient cultures, the number 13 represented femininity because it corresponded to the number of lunar cycles in a year.
Menstrual cycles, yeah, oh god.
The theory is that as the solar calendar triumphed over the lunar, the number 13 became anathema.
All right. Just people talking shit again.
Yep.
People taking shit seriously, numbers and divination, telling the future by any way, shape or form. Fucking humanity. I'm glad we're a failing fucking species.
It's like the thing about with Robert Anton Wilson when he started noticing the number 23.
Oh,
occurrence of the number 23.
Yeah.
And then, he started noticing more and more, and it was everywhere. And his wife pointed out to him, well, you're looking for it now. So
yeah, exactly.
You're ignoring all the other numbers that you come across.
What's the deal with 7 as well? They always say 7 is a lucky number.
Lucky number 7?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where's that come from?
If you turn 7 upside down, it looks like an L, which is the beginning letter of the word lucky. Numerology, bitches!
It's just true.
Hmm?
It's just true.
It's just true, yeah. Lucky number 7.
Oh.
People think the colours are fucking lucky and stuff. Luck is a stupid concept as well. Either happens or it doesn't.
I've always thought of number 7 as my lucky number, but only because the 7 times table was the first one that I memorised off by heart.
That's a great reason, though.
That's a really good reason.
When I was growing up.
Seven's the hard one. 7s and 8s were bollocks, mate.
Yeah, but you know, he always says his mind works differently.
Oh yeah, certainly.
It
Yeah,
covers
of course
the
it does,
difficult
yeah.
stuff first.
On that predictive note, I'd like to thank my co-participants for this week, Kenneth Trainer
Thank you very much.
and Antonio Romola.
Thank you.
Fucking gem, as always, guys. Absolute pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, it was great.
If you want to get in contact with us about anything, best and worst things of the week, nominations for hero or cunt of the week, a question of tone, mysteries for the Twilight Tone, or anything else, anything you want to ask any of us, you can follow us on Twitter @TheLast7 or email us thelast7podcast@gmail.com.